Hi, so I need you to get yourself the copy of Forbes Africa Woman. This is a very young and very energetic issue. I don't think Forbes Africa has actually done an issue like this. So the girls, because these are very young ladies on the cover, are the disruptors, the generation 2030. They are the first people I've ever heard of who are very clear that they don't want to end up like millennials. Can you imagine? They're millennials who are already been dissed and shaded, and they're being shaded by Generation Z. Generation Z are game-changing digital natives. They're about to hit the workforce and they're gonna hit the entrepreneurship space and actually change it completely. And the focus in this particular issue of Forbes Africa Woman is so deep yet such a racy read. You read it and you think, I've got to check whether I'm a Generation Z or a millennial. I don't think there's anything wrong with being a millennial, but to actually see them shade millennials and say, many Generation Zers say, I don't want to end up like the millennials. I'm like, Kwani, the millennials ended up like how? So if you're feeling threatened and upset, I would suggest you grab a copy of the current issue of Forbes Africa Woman and read it. Read it for motivation. Also, Forbes Africa has done a great job in not just calling them the disruptors, but of course calling them the next Elon Musks. And God knows Africa needs a couple of those. I've said this before, I'll say it again. What we need in Africa is thought leadership. That is what's going to change the game for all of us. Because the development agenda doesn't seem to be ours, it seems to be owned by somebody else. So the sooner we get into that space of thought leadership, the better. There's a focus on slavery in Libya. I think this particular saga shocked us all in late 2017. There isn't a documentary done about this, an article done about this that I have hated, but I have watched each and every one because I refuse to close my eyes and pretend it's not happening. I've got to. So you will actually see the stories and first-hand account from a lot of people who were interviewed for this particular issue. The life of a woman in South Africa. This is a special focus on gender-based violence in this particular issue of Forbes Africa Woman. And I want to congratulate Forbes Africa Woman for not ignoring the truth about all that is a woman in Africa, okay? And then this chick is my current superhero. While all of you are like, oh my God, Black Panther. Black Panther what? This chick would have been the superhero if she was in that movie. She is the woman who's been hired to turn Uber around. She's the Ghanaian in Silicon Valley. She's Bozoma St. John. And on Twitter, she's at Badass Bars. I love her. I just love her. Everything she has ever been in, she has been interviewed on. I have read like, I'm that person. And then there's an amazing story about a young jewelry designer who is dressing up the rich and famous and taking her jewelry design from Africa to Dubai. Read about her. And this one caught me like, oh my goodness. So meet this South African lady who makes handbags out of the insides of used tire tubes. So two more bits for you to look at Forbes Africa Woman this month. Designs from Africa and for Michelle Obama. Meet the Tanzanian fashion designer who's dressing people like Michelle Obama. And you're sitting in Nairobi saying, I want to dress Caroline Mutoko. Think bigger. Think bigger. And clearly somebody heard me because developing the people who develop nations. So there's a transnational academic group and they have their advertorial in Forbes Africa, and I think you need to read it. And you know why? Because I'm a very big believer that our change is going to come in thought leadership. And the more of us who engage in it, the better. Get your copy. If you don't know where to get one, I got 10, so hit me up and I'll make sure you can pick up one from my office. Okay, super.